Hello everyone, this is Manohar Reddy, Department of Cybersecurity, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I am going to explain the concept of informational messages of ICMP. Informational message of ICMP. So we already said that ICMP is a protocol which displays the messages of network statistics or host statistics and data transmission statistics. So to display that all the messages, the ICMP has to inform to the network, or ICMP has to inform the host, or ICMP has to inform to the data. So how the ICMP protocol will help you to display all the details, and how it provides the details by host and the network and the data transmission. See, ICMP informational messages. So there are two types of informational messages are required or defined. The informational messages, the name itself, that is informing to the system or informing to the network or informing to the data. With the help of two types of informational messages. In that, one is echo request message. And the other one is echo reply message. One is echo request message and another one is echo reply messages. Other ICMP informational messages are used for path MTU discovery and neighbor discovery. Path MTU discovery. So here the MTU stands for maximum transmission unit. Maximum transmission unit. So here the MTU discovery and neighbor discovery. For these to identify all the discoveries, the ICMP and informational messages are required. ICMP informational messages are required. So RFC 2461 is the request for comments of 2461 is a neighbor discovery for IPv6, and RFC 1981 is for path MTU discovery for IP version 6. So this is one type of informational message to identify the neighbor discovery for IPv6. And this is also one type of informational message to find the path MTU discovery for IP version 6. So here the maximum transmission unit discovery as well as neighbor discovery for IPv6 are done with the help of these two informational messages. So these are some processes that used in ICMP informational messages. So these two are some of the examples. These two are the examples for ICMP informational messages. And here echo request and echo reply messages are used for one of the most common TCP IP utilities. In that one example, ping command. So PING, ping command, which is full formed as packet internet group. Packet internet grouper. So it is used to determine if a specified host is available on the network and it is ready to communicate or not. So it is used to determine the specified host. Suppose you can mention ping space, give an IP address, or give an domain address like www.zntu.ac.in. So this is one target, or this is one host. So you are going to contacting this host with the help of this ping command. So it is used to determine if a specified host is available on the network and ready to communicate. The source host issues an echo request message to the specified destination. So which the destination you are going to specify. So for that destination, the whole echo request message has to be sent. The destination host, if available, responds with an echo reply message. So if the destination is not available, then it does not respond with the echo reply message. If the destination is available, then it is responded with the echo reply messages. It is responded with the echo reply message. So here, based on these all, we can say that echo request and echo reply are the two informational messages. Two informational messages of ICMP. Informational messages of ICMP. So all the things which are going on through the network are to be intimated or to be informed with the help of this ICMP protocol. With this ICMP protocol. So echo request and reply message format. So generally the ICMP packet contains some header fields, some types of fields. So here echo request and echo reply messages also having some certain types of fields. In that one is a type, the second one is code, and third one is checksum field, identifier, sequence number, and optional data. So the type indicates the type of the message format, whether it is echo request format or echo message reply message format. And the code, how the data is to be coding, how the data is to be having the length. So checksum, if is there any extra bit is added, then checksum field is added for taking that extra bits. And identifier, so which packet it is identified, and router identifier, so which type of packet it is going to be transmitted and which router has to be identified to transfer that data. And sequence number of the messages, so the number 1 or number 2 or some sort of numbers of the messages has to be followed. And optional data, so what the data has to be carried from the source to destination. So these are the echo request and reply messages formats. Echo request and reply message formats. So here we can see echo request message. The format of the echo request message is shown in below. So the type which indicates that type of the message, whether it is echo request or echo reply. So if it is echo request, the type contains 1 byte length. Type contains 1 byte length. And the code contains 1 byte length. So here 0 is the default. So code is the 1 byte length. And checksum is 2 bytes. Checksum is the 2 bytes field. And identifier, which is used to match echo replies to this request. Maybe it is a 0. Maybe it is a 0. If it is matched with the echo replies to the echo request, the identifier will be added. And the sequence number used to match echo replies to this request, maybe it is a 0. So similarly, the sequence number also has to be matched with the echo request to echo reply. If identifier is matched, then it will be count to the number. If request sequence number will be matched, then it will be as 1 or 2. And the data, so it is a variable. It is depending upon the size of the data, the fields are going to be adding. So 0 or more bytes of arbitrary data. 0 or more bytes of arbitrary data. So here the type field is set to 128. The value for echo request is 128 bytes. And the code field is not used for this message, and therefore it is set to 0. The code field is not used for this message, echo request message. It is only for echo reply messages. The identifier and sequence number fields are used to match requests with the replies. Used to match with the requests and replies. The reply must always contain the same numbers as the request. So whatever the fields are inside of the request has to be matched with the inside of the reply. Whether an identifier and a sequence number are used and what kind of arbitrary data is included in the echo request depends upon the TCP IP stacks or you are using. Depends upon the TCP IP stack you are using. So all these fields are enabled for identifying the data within the fields, within the bytes, within the size of the data. That is the echo request message. Similarly, echo reply message. Echo reply message. The format of the echo reply message is very similar to that of echo request. So as we said that echo request message having the type and code checksum identifier fields, along with the sequence number and data, the same fields are happening in the echo reply messages also. So here the type indicates that echo reply, which contains 129 bytes, and the code is a 0 field, and the checksum also 2 bytes, and the identifier also 2 bytes. The identifier from the invoking echo request, that is matching with the help of echo request to the echo request to echo reply. So if it is matched, then it is able to set this identifier. And a sequence number also, the sequence number from the invoking echo request, it is also has to match with this echo request to the echo reply. Then the sequence number able to set the 2 bytes, and data, which is also data from the invoking echo request. So the data which is invoked from echo request has to be added in this data variable. So that's why we mentioned that data size is variable size. So this is the echo reply format. And here the type field contains the value 129 for echo reply. The type field contains the value 129 bytes for echo reply. And the code field is unused. And it is set to 0. The identifier and the sequence number fields must match the fields in the request. So identifier and sequence number fields are also available in the echo request, and these two fields has to match with the echo request field. The data of the echo request message must be copied into the reply entirely and modified. So the data of the echo request message must be copied into the reply entirely and unmodified. If an upper layer process initiated the echo request, the reply must be passed to this process. If the echo request message was sent to unicast address, the source address of the echo reply message must be the same as the destination address of the echo request message. It should be the same. The echo request message and echo reply messages are the same. If the request message was sent to the unicast address, the source address of echo reply message must be the same. If the echo request was sent to IPv6 multicast address, the source address of echo reply must be a unicast address of the interface on which the multicast echo request was received. So the fields, the echo request message and the echo reply messages, all the fields, type, code, sequence number, identifier, data, all the fields from these two has to match with the size of the data. Hence, then only ICMP can able to inform the particular status of the messages to the system or network or host. Otherwise, it is not able to inform the messages to the system or network or host. And from that, the reconnaissance scanning. So what is meant by reconnaissance and what is meant by scanning actually? So to identify that all the different types of targets with the help of different scanning techniques, we use the term scanning is the basic term. So here the scanning is a set of procedures. For identifying live hosts. Or ports or service. So host is nothing but your systems. And ports are nothing but listening numbers or connections. And the services are nothing but the system having accepted system services. So scanning is nothing but it is a set of procedures for identifying live hosts, ports and services, discovering operating system and architecture of target system, identifying vulnerabilities and threats on the network. So all the things. So by doing the performance of the scanning, You will get all the details of the system of live hosts as well as ports and services and operating system architecture. Everything you will get the details about by doing the scanning. And network scanning is used to create a profile of the target organization. So network scanning is used to create a profile of the target organization. So a profile is nothing but what? The details of the person or details of the organization. The same thing here, creating profile of the target organization. Suppose I can take any of the profile of the target organization, www.flipkart.com. This is one target actually. This is one target address or target system. When we perform the scanning, of this scanning on this target, when you do performing on scanning on this target, you will get all the information. Like live hosts, ports, services, operating system types, architecture of the types, vulnerabilities, and the threats on the network. Everything will get all the details in the form of a profile. So scanning refers to collecting more information using complex and aggressive reconnaissance techniques. So by doing the scanning, you will get the information as a complex way or aggressive way or simple way. Some of the scanning techniques are displays only basic data. Some of the scanning techniques are displays somewhat complex structure, complex data. And somewhat scanning techniques are used for displaying all the different types of data, which are used to find out the vulnerabilities or threats or something, right? So this is all the different types of techniques. The name it as scanning. So from this scanning technique, reconnaissance is also one term. Reconnaissance is also a one term to find the procedure of scanning. So reconnaissance is a set of procedures and techniques. Some of the techniques you are applying to find the vulnerabilities or threats on the network. So reconnaissance is a set of procedures and techniques like footprinting, scanning, and enumeration used to covertly discover and collect information about target system. So applying some tools, applying some techniques or policies or processes or anything that is referred as in the form of scanning is called as reconnaissance. So during this reconnaissance, an ethical hacker attempts to gather as much as information about a target system as possible. So during this reconnaissance technique, by doing this footprinting, scanning, enumerating everything on the system, an ethical hacker attempts to gather as much as information about a target system as possible. So by doing these two techniques like scanning and reconnaissance techniques, the ethical hacker or any other intruder are getting all the details about the system or target of operating system or target anything. You will get all the profile of the target system. So for that only we are using this reconnaissance and scanning techniques. And following out the 7 steps listed below for doing some such scanning and reconnaissance technique. So first one is what? Gathering initial information about target. So basic information about target, and determine the network range. So which type of IP addresses are taking that 192.168.0.12, identifying the range 198.168.0.240 or something. The range has to take. And identify active machines. Identify certain active machines. So what are the different machines are active to take the chance of hacking? And discover open ports and access points. And fingerprint the operating system. fingerprint the operating system. That means indirectly you are touching the operating system to get all the kernel details or system details or services details and everything. And uncover services on ports. So what are the services on closed ports? What are the open ports? What are the closed services of the target system? So closed services are open ports or open services of the target system. And map the network topologies. Map the network topologies. So what is the network topology that you are using in the organization? So network topology of the organization or target we are going to understand. So after doing this all the steps, the ethical hacker or some other hacker can able to access all the details or all the information about the target system. All the details are information about the target system. So by doing this scanning and reconnaissance techniques only, the other user can able to get all the details of the target system. So here the reconnaissance takes place in two parts. One is active reconnaissance and the second one is passive reconnaissance. One is active, second one is passive. So the name itself, active reconnaissance. In this process, you will directly interact with the computer system to gain the information. So in the active reconnaissance procedure, the user directly communicated with the system to get the information about the system. This information can be relevant and accurate. Maximum, it displays all the information as correct as clear. But there is a risk of getting detected if you are planning active reconnaissance without permission. If we are doing the active reconnaissance without permission, if we are detected, then system admin can take severe action against you and trail your subsequent activities. So active reconnaissance procedure is a directly interacting communication system, directly interacting with the computer system, and this information is relevant and accurate. But the risk is here, the system admin can take an action against you if you are the responsibilities of subsequent activities. The passive reconnaissance, in this process, it will not be directly connected to the computer system. This process is used to gather essential information without ever interacting with the target system. So we'll get the information which is in between the target system and the scanning process. So you will not directly connected to the computer system, and the process is used to gather essential information. So what essential information without ever interacting with the target system. So this is the reconnaissance takes place in two parts, active and passive reconnaissance. So there are different scanning and reconnaissance tools offered in real terms as follows. Some of the tools are offered to perform these scanning and reconnaissance techniques. In that, one is Nmap or Zenmap tool, which is used for doing the scanning and reconnaissance purposes especially, and it displays the target system details based on the type of scan which is used. It displays all the target system details based on the type of scan it performs. Based on the type of scan it performs on target system. So based on the type of scan technique, it displays the details about the target system. And the Wireshark tool also. Wireshark tool is also one type of application software. It is also one type of application software. We can download it and we can install it. And the Wireshark tool is also one type of scanning and reconnaissance technique tool, especially for the packet crafting techniques. And the Google hacking. So Google hacking is also open tool. For identifying the details of target system identifying the details of target system. Not only these three, along with these three, different types of scanning and reconnaissance tools are there. Net Pro Scanner is one tool. Net Pro Scanner is one tool. Advanced IP Scanner is one tool. Advanced IP Scanner is one tool. Net Scanner is one tool. Net Scanner is one tool. Like the way we have different types of scanning and reconnaissance tools. But out of all those, the design of the tool, based on the designation of the tool, that are going to be displayed the certain details of the system or target system. Certain details of target system. So, about all these things, we can say that a scanning and reconnaissance procedure takes place. Very important. So, for that, we are using all these three tools. We are using all these three. So, once again, we revise the topics which we discussed in this session. So, first of all, ICMP informational messages. So, what are the informational messages that we are using? One is echo request and echo reply messages. So, echo request and echo reply messages having same packet formats, which contains both type field, code field, checksum field, identifier field, sequence number field, optional data field. So here we can see echo request message contains all the fields, and similarly echo reply message contains all the fields. All these informational messages are only for displaying the messages of the target system or of the network or of the hosts that contains different errors. And what is the use of scanning and reconnaissance technique? So scanning is a set of procedures that we already know, that identifying live hosts or ports or services and everything. So to identify all the hosts, all the ports, services, we are using different types of procedures like scanning and reconnaissance. So for that, what we are using, we have to do some certain steps to identify them. And some of the tools, some of the types, reconnaissance types are there: active reconnaissance and passive reconnaissance. So some of the tools are there: Nmap and Wireshark and Google Hacking are some certain type of tools which are used to display the details about the target system. Based on the type of scanning, based on the type of scan, based on the type of tool, it displays all the details. It displays all the details of the target system. So based on the type of scanning technique, based on the type of tool, it displays all the details of the target system. So this is what we have to know from this session. Thank you all.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.